Nicole, one of the wealthtwins, and we teach others how to manage and invest their money. And today I'm talking about the new Apple High Yield Savings Account. I'm going to tell you all the details you need to know about it. I'm going to teach you how to get one. And also I'm going to give you my thoughts at the end, how I feel about Apple getting into the financial game in general. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button and I'll get started. The Apple Savings Account is actually a high yield savings account currently paying 4.15%. That is actually 10 times the national average when it comes to savings accounts. Now, even though there are some savings accounts that you can get online that are paying higher than what Apple is paying, you still are getting higher than what you would get at a large financial institution such as Chase. Now, you know how we feel about Chase. If you don't, please look at the video that my twin Nadia did recently. I'll link it to the end of this video. But basically, Chase is giving you pennies on the money that you're actually putting into their savings account. So it's actually a better deal to go look at some of these higher yielding savings accounts. Now, if you're wondering how Apple is actually able to offer a savings account, even though it's a technology company, that's because they've actually partnered with Goldman Sachs, which is a financial banking institution, and they're able actually to get their banking services for the Apple customers. Now, what's funny is that Goldman Sachs actually has its own savings account under the name Marcus, which they offer a lower interest rate to their customers than they do for the customers coming from Apple. Now, when you open up a Marcus savings account, you're getting around maybe a little bit over 3%. However, the guys that are opening up through Apple and getting a Goldman Sachs savings account are actually making 4.15%. So that's very interesting. I'll be looking to see what's going to happen between people who are choosing Marcus versus people that are choosing this new Apple savings account. Now, because Goldman Sachs is a banking institution, your Apple savings account will actually be FDIC insured. So you don't have to worry about it as long as you have $250,000 or less in the account. When it comes to this Apple savings account, the max that you can have in this account is $250,000. What you also get with this savings account from Apple, you get no fees, no minimum balance requirement, and no minimum deposit. So that basically means you can get into this savings account with next to nothing. Now, if you think that this Apple High Yield Savings Account is actually sounding pretty good, you might want to know, well, how do I actually set up a savings account? And actually, how does that savings account from Apple work? Now, the way it works is a little interesting when it comes to the savings account. The only way you can open up this savings account is if you first open up an Apple credit card. That's right. You have to open up an Apple credit card in order to get access to Apple's high yield savings account. Now, the reason is because Apple, with part of their credit card, what they do is offer something called daily cash. So this is basically cash back on any purchases that you make with the credit card. Now, the original intent with this savings account is to give these credit card holders a little bit more benefit when it comes to the daily cash. At first, the daily cash would just accumulate in your Apple wallet and it was earning nothing. So Apple has added this new feature where you're still going to get that cash back in your daily cash, but when you open up your savings account and link it to your credit card, the daily cash will then go into your savings account automatically, and you will start earning that 4.15% interest rate on a daily cash that you actually have in the account. Now, this daily cash sounds like a good idea because a lot of credit cards offer cashback features, but some of them actually have some type of strings attached with it where you can only get the bonuses, the cashback bonuses, the actual money that you have on that card. You can only get it once you reach a certain limit, like $50 or so. It doesn't seem that way when it comes to this Apple credit card. And the fact that they're linking this daily cash back that you get to a savings account is also something that could be a game changer when it comes to credit card purchases, because I don't know of any other credit card that's actually doing that. And Apple on their site says that they're basically turning the whole game around when it comes to credit cards. Outside of just the daily cash that will be in the savings account, Apple is also allowing its customers to actually transfer in money from other financial institutions into this savings account. So, for instance, if you have like a Capital One bank account, or you have like whatever bank account you have, you can actually take money from that account and transfer it in to your Apple savings account. However, you cannot directly put money into your savings account, directly deposit a check or so. You can't do that with this account. So you do still need to keep some way of getting money directly from your check or so in order to put it into the savings account. Now, even though this sounds like a limitation when it comes to the savings account, I actually see it as a little bit of benefit, because that means that you have another way of putting money into that account without using your credit card. So keep that in mind. That's going to come back to how I feel about this savings account in general and Apple in general. Now, the Apple credit card and the Apple savings account will all be in your Apple wallet. They will all be able to be accessed through your Apple wallet. So the Apple wallet is really important, because that's where you're going to hold all your credit cards, your debit cards, and where your saving account information will be. Also, I think it's worth noting that you're not able to actually spend money or make purchases directly through your savings account with your Apple Card or with Apple Pay. If you want to access the money you have in a savings account, you actually have to do a transfer to either your Apple Cash, which is actually another app inside your iPhone, or you have to take the money and link it and transfer it back to an external bank account, okay? So you can't make any purchases or spend any money directly from the savings account. You have to make some type of transfer to get it into another app or another bank in order for you to use the money that you are saving in this account. However, you can make these transfers at any time. You also are limited in terms of who is the owner of the savings account. Apple allows their Apple credit card holders to actually have a joint account. However, when it comes to the savings account, you cannot do that. Each one of the credit card holders will actually have to have their own savings account. So that means even though you have a joint credit card with someone, you will only be able to put the daily cash that you get from the purchases that you make into your savings account, and you will only be able to see the amount of money you have in your savings account, not the amount of money that you would have as a joint couple or a family, unlike other banks that will allow you to have a joint savings account. Now, you may have noticed that I'm using a lot of Apple terminology. I'm talking about Apple credit card, Apple Cash, Apple Wallet, and that's because, as I mentioned before, that the only ones that have access to this Apple savings account is the Apple credit card customers. So the first step you would need to do in order to have an Apple savings account is actually become an Apple credit card customer. Now, you can easily apply in the Apple store or right online. Now, based on some of the comments from my subscribers from previous videos that we made about Apple, we know that many love the Apple credit card, but they also say in order to get it, you have to have good credit. Now, in addition to that, I was watching an Anthony O'Neill video, and he mentioned even though he did qualify for the Apple card, that his card came with a very high rate. It was over 20%. Now, that is an extremely high rate, but it's kind of in line with actual store credit cards like Macy's or Old Navy or so. So be mindful when it comes to using a credit card to just have access to a savings account, because there are other ways that you can get a high interest rate without having so many strings attached. For instance, you have the government I-bond, a U.S. government I-bond. This is a savings bond that's currently paying over 6% when it comes to interest. If you're just looking for a place to park some money and make sure that it's safe and also get a high interest rate for it, you might want to look into that I-bond. Now, the I-bond is not a savings account, and it's not the same as a savings account that you find at a bank. However, it's just as safe because it is backed by the U.S. government and it's meant for savings. So look it up and let me know what you think. Now, speaking about safety, the Apple savings account comes with the same safety features and the same privacy features that you come to expect from all Apple products. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the safety when it comes to this savings account from Apple. And I bet if it's not on par with the banks, it's probably better. And again, it is FDIC insured because the bank account is actually through Goldman Sachs. Now, question for you guys. Do you trust Apple to keep your information safe when it comes to your money information, also just your personal information? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you're interested in opening up an Apple savings account based on everything that I've told you, then you have to do the following steps. Number 1, you need to be an owner or a co-owner of an active Apple credit card account, and you need to add that credit card to your iPhone. Number 2, you need to be 18 years old or over. 18 years old or older, I should say. You'll also need to have a social security number or an individual tax ID number. You will need to be a U.S. resident with a valid physical U.S. address. And you will need to set up 2-factor authentication for your Apple ID and update it to the latest version of iOS. After that, you should be ready to go. Now that you know everything there is to know, as far as I know, about this Apple savings account, I would like to share with you my thoughts about Apple in general and also just Apple getting to this whole finance game. Now, when it comes to Apple offering a savings account or even a credit card, I really don't mind it because, hey, they're capitalizing on their branding and also on their ability to serve the customers that they know exactly what they want. Now, however, when it comes to actually a customer getting this savings account, this is when financial literacy comes into play. Because the way to get this savings account is actually by getting first a credit card. I'm a frugal person in general, and frugality would teach you it's better for you to save up rather than having those instant gratification that comes with credit card purchases. Now, I would love for everyone to be debt free and no one to use credit cards ever. However, that's just not reality. Credit cards are now a part of our culture. Now, the best I can do is convince you not to use credit cards or to use them responsibly. Outside of linking to your credit card in order to get the savings account, again, with financial literacy, I believe there's a way to get around that. So you first get the credit card, you buy something simple, right, to get the daily cash back. After that, pay off that credit card. You still have the feature of being able to transfer money from a financial institution into your bank account. This is where I think it can shine for you if you do it correctly. If you can handle having a credit card and also paying your bills on time or keeping it to a manageable level and learning the fact that what you really want from this card is a savings account, you could just keep that credit card at zero and then just use the transfer feature to get the high interest rate that you're getting on a savings account. When it comes to Apple itself as a company, Apple has shown in the past that they really are not just looking out for themselves as a company, they do keep their customer in mind. The fact that they're on their website, you can see they're saying, we're part of the revolution to basically have healthier financial lives for a customer. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. They're wanting you to spend money on one hand, and they're telling you, well, if you spend money with us, you can also save. If you really want a healthier financial life, leave the credit cards alone. Use it for only emergencies if you really need to. And if you do use them, make sure you pay them off as soon as you can. Then find other ways to save that doesn't require you to spend money in order to do so. Overall, if you are using credit cards responsibly, you love Apple products, and just looking for a place where you can park some money at a decent interest rate, I don't think this Apple savings account is a horrible idea. Now, if you already are an Apple credit card user, it's a no-brainer. Open up the savings account and link your daily cash to that savings account and start making money on the daily cash that you're receiving on your purchases. If you're not an Apple credit card user already and you're thinking that this might be a good idea, just be savvy about it. Use the strategy that I suggested, or just be mindful of the purchases that you put on it, because credit card purchases are usually just consumer-based and they're not emergencies, and you might regret opening up another credit card in the hopes of just saving some money, because really at the end, you're spending money in order to save, and that just doesn't make sense. You can always save money, and you can definitely do it without spending a dime. If you enjoyed this video and you like this type of content, you should really consider joining our free private email community called the Wealth Pack. In our Wealth Pack community, we share money and investing insights that we believe are valuable for our community to know, because just like a pack, we want to make sure no one gets left behind. So if you're interested in learning more from the Wealth Twins, more about how we think about money management, more about how we think about investing, especially long-term investing, you should really check out and join our private community. We would love to have you there, love to correspond back and forth with you. And if that sounds good to you, the link is down below in the description of this video. Other than that, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.